So now you're on the go-to-market team at OpenAI. And so would love to talk about kind of why you joined OpenAI and what does sales look like at, I feel like, the most exciting company at the moment right now.
Sure. Yeah. So why I joined. I think I can safely say I was not alone in becoming deeply fascinated with generative AI. And I would be lying if I said it was that like fascination didn't like explode around the time ChatGPT was launched. It had such an effect on me. Like it was one of those moments when I first used it, like I can actually remember where I was at the time. Like that's how impactful it was. And so it sparked in me like all sorts of different emotions. But what I knew above all else is that it's like, I just need to learn as much as I can about this and about the world of generative AI. And so, of course, like that led me to being exposed to so much of the work that OpenAI was doing. And of course, they'd been doing that work long before ChatGPT was launched. And so I joined not only because like I really genuinely like felt like deeply fascinated by that work. I believed in the mission of creating safe and artificial general intelligence that's benefiting humanity, but also because I was researching the people who were joining this company. And that alone would have been enough to create like a very strong pull for me to join. Sales. What does sales look like at OpenAI?
Yeah.
That was the second question, right? It looks busy. I can tell you that much. I think I was surprised at the time of joining, like how small the go-to-market function was relative to the rest of the company, which is built around research and deployment. Of course, I joined like around the week that ChatGPT Enterprise was launched, and so that was a busy week. So our sales team is like focused on like ChatGPT Enterprise and our API platform. That's really kind of like two of the products. And the mission is like how we think about understanding the economic impacts that our models have on businesses and users and like the way that they interact with them. So when I think about like sales at OpenAI, like this small but mighty and growing team is focused on like working very closely with customers who are either looking at ChatGPT Enterprise to like create these massive like productivity improvements, but also the API where customers are layering generative AI into existing products or building entirely new ones. And so there's that element of sort of like selling these products and helping them solve problems, but also it's this piece of like, how do we understand how people are engaging with this technology? So to that end, it's been incredibly like rewarding and exciting.
How deep of like a technical solution are you having to go in this sale? Because I imagine like, right, Doc, I mean, I assume you're working with bigger companies than Doc, but we'll use us as an example. Like we want to use OpenAI's API to kind of build some products off of it. Are you selling into engineers and product managers and kind of talking through, okay, here's some ideas on how you could build it, or here's some examples. And then obviously like the cost of it is very interesting, right? Of, okay, how much are these credits going to cost me as we scale? And that's something I'm nervous about too, even as we explore this type of functionality at Doc. So how do you think about that balance of, are you just talking of commercial terms? Are you talking about technical solutions? What does that kind of look like as you start to interface with customers?
It's definitely all of the above. I won't pretend that it doesn't require at least relatively deep, like technical sort of sophistication. In some cases, there are specializations. I mentioned, the ChatGPT Enterprise and the API platform, and we have folks that specialize in each one. And my focus is more on ChatGPT Enterprise. And, the sort of like beauty and value of that product is that, it's making generative AI more accessible in that way. Like, so many people use it, and it's because it's very natural to come in and use natural language and just put in a prompt. And of course, there are degrees of sophistication that you can use it as one learns prompt engineering and other things. But there is an element of simplicity, both to the conversation, to the product, and to the sale, that makes something like ChatGPT so compelling.
Yeah. And it's an amazing demo, right? That everybody's already, experiencing and playing with. So that definitely must help the sale as well.
Yeah. It does not hurt.
Yeah. How do you think about selling into such a dynamic and evolving landscape? I mean, it's crazy how much is changing with AI. I could barely keep up with the news. I'm sure you could barely, it's just like so hard, and like new competitor, new thing, it's just so much newness. And so how do you think about selling in such an evolving landscape?
Yeah, I don't think anyone can keep up. I think anyone that either A, says they can keep up, or B, says they sort of know what's going to happen, I'm a little skeptical of. But I only look so far into the future because of all the aforementioned reasons. Like no one knows with 100% certainty what this will look like in 1 year, let alone 5. Like for me, I tend to just treat it as a student, in that there will always be problems to solve. And the more I learn, the more my approach changes. The tools that I use will evolve and the challenges are never going away. So I think, it's obviously in our nature to just continue pushing the envelope. That will be true of the technology. And my focus is always like, as it relates to how selling evolves in this landscape, learn as much as I can and continue this exercise of considering how I can use what I learn and then apply that to solving like the new and exciting problems. And certainly those that I have. It sounds sort of like simple and high level, but it's really all anyone can do, I think, as well, in terms of just like keeping themselves apprised of what's going on. And for my part, I'm excited. I know some people have a different reaction, and I think that's very fair. But for my part, it's excitement.
Yeah, I think positioning it as a student is a really well said. And that's kind of how I want to think about it as well. Because, as we think about Doc's product and we want to add some AI in different places and think about how do we take advantage of that technology, I'm nervous about picking the wrong thing and it's going to cost a lot and whatever. But all that doesn't matter because you just got to start trying and getting good at it and start to understanding how to use it. And even if you pick something wrong or it starts to get expensive or whatever the problem that might come, you're still making more progress and iterating towards this future. And as long as you're just learning and pushing in that direction, I think we can build a better company around that if we just have that kind of growth mindset mentality. So that's how I'm thinking about it.
I think that's exactly right. I speak with customers all the time who are really excited but they have this, there's this challenge that's not even unique to ChatGPT or anything where they just have so many use cases. And there's this question of where do I even start? And a lot of where our guidance starts is just start using it, to your point. I think there's so much to be said for even just this 0 to 1 of getting comfortable with using generative AI as companies think about ChatGPT or any technology as it relates to generative AI. Like those are really critical early steps. And there's so much value in just getting that initial exposure and giving that to your organization. And the folks that tend to embrace that mentality, you see use cases explode very quickly. So that's been a really interesting learning.